Welcome. In front of me is the Black Shark gaming tablet, and today I will show you how you can go through the setup process of this device. So, when you boot it up for the very first time, you should be presented with the same screen that you can see on my end, and in here you just get to select your desired language from the list. If you choose English, actually from the list instead of the ones that are suggested, you will be also able to choose the region. As you can see, I'm gonna stick with the one. Now once you have your language set, counterintuitively now we can choose vision settings, and in here you have some options to help you with some kind of visual impairments that you might have. We have things like display size and text size. Display size actually alters everything, like the actual icons, the buttons, toggles, and so on, just to showcase this. As you can see, everything starts to get just much bigger. So, font size obviously just changes the font itself. And that changes font everywhere. So, text right here, under icons and so on. Now under magnification, it just allows you to have a shortcut for zooming in your screen, so you can make it much bigger. Then we have select to speak, so you can just select an area and it will read it out loud to you. And lastly, we have TalkBack. TalkBack is basically a full kind of navigation of your device without needing to even see it. You do it through swipes, up, downs, left, right, double taps, and single taps, and it always reads everything that is selected, and it always has something selected. And you can basically activate it by either double tapping on it, or I think single tapping selects it, or whatever. So anyway, let's move on. There we go. Not sure what. Come on. So from here we're gonna just select start, and here we have our Wi-Fi connection. Now you don't need to connect to Wi-Fi. You can actually simply skip this, and it might give us, there we go, this pop-up setup offline. So because we don't have any kind of LTE capability right here, at least I don't, this only can connect to network through Wi-Fi, and without it, it would be set up in offline mode, which results in not being able to sign into Google account, restore apps and data, get software updates, and automatically set date and time. Now I do want to point this out, this only applies throughout the setup process. After it's finished, you can change any of this at any point you want, so it's not set in stone. And by continuing without network, date and time is the first thing that you will see right here. You don't even need to change it, fix it in any kind of way if it's incorrect, as the moment you connect to network, it will automatically set it to a correct date and time, unless you're planning it to keep it completely offline, then you can set it up. Next we have a PIN. So we can do a 4 to 6 digit PIN, or we can also choose pattern or password. Now you can only use one type of protection right here. Now I would recommend setting some kind of protection on your device, just because number one, your devices usually hold some personal information, and number two, in unfortunate case that you ever lose this device, whoever finds this without a screen lock, they can just obviously start using it without much of a problem, reset it to have a fresh start on it, and so on. But if you have a Google account signed in and you even have a PIN, so both of those, what happens when such a device gets reset, because such a person wouldn't be able to use it without knowing your PIN, and usually most of us do have a Google account signed in. So what will happen is when they reset it, the device, while going to the setup, will just kind of step in and be like, whoa there, bucko, connect to that Wi-Fi network there, because we need to check if you're you. And by connecting to network, it will just kind of be giving them two options. So they can verify that this is their device by confirming the screen lock, which in this case, whatever you selected right here, or the signed in Google account that was before the reset, obviously. And if they can't verify one of the two, they won't be able to ever finish up the setup. Therefore, they will be stuck with essentially a fancy brick. Now I'll be skipping this, but do as I say, not as I do. This is not my device. And moving on, we have Google services. Now I'm gonna stick with these, explain them a little bit. If you don't care about this, then just by all means turn them all off and move forward, which I believe will nearly finish up the setup. But I do want to kind of go over them, explain them, so you might be more aware of what the hell this is, and so you're a bit, more conscious about the lack of privacy and all that shit that we're dealing with right now, which at this point I think it's best that most people know this. So let me just close the door. So let's start off with the first one. I'm not going to be reading everything. I'm just going to read the most important part and explain it. So for most of them, the most important part is right at the beginning. Allow apps and services with location permissions to use your device's location. Location accuracy uses information about wireless signals such as Wi-Fi access points, cellular network towers, and the GPS. I'm not really going to go further into it. So by turning that off, you would probably think that your device is completely off the grid, not being tracked, and all that garbage. No, you're wrong. So I don't think service or Android is considered as service, so Google will be gathering your location regardless, just because they're creepy little shits like that. And furthermore, they're not the only creepy cunts. There are even bigger ones. They tend to be lizard-like, and they're named Mark Zuckerberg, right? So he might be great at barbecuing shit, but he's also cooking up your data so he can steal the shit out of it regardless if you give him permission or not. So this creepy little cunt looks at this more as a suggestion and then disregards it and finds backwards ways to still gain that information, because to him this is revenue, and he's sure as shit not going to be giving you the option to deny him your information if he can make money off of it. And there's a reason why he's in a class action lawsuit, and this is not like me making shit up. This is just literally what he does, because he's been caught with his hand in a cookie jar. And if one stupid little billionaire was caught with his hand or cock in a cookie jar, what are the chances that other ones will do the same? They've just been a little bit better at hiding it. Because I think expecting them to look at this and be like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. He asked me not to do it, so sure, I'm not going to get that thousands or millions of dollars revenue that I get from selling data. Yeah, no, that's fine. He asked me, so I'll abide by this. Please, come on. Since when billionaires give a single shit about this? Obviously, to them, consent is how much will it cost as a punishment, and let's make sure we make more money from violating this, so we can still be profitable even when we get sued. And that's literally the sad truth. Anyway, next one, which also gets turned off along with the location, is allow scanning. Now this one just seems kind of disturbing because it allows apps and services again to scan for Wi-Fi networks and nearby devices at any time. And here comes the best part, even when Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is off. Now, I might be absolutely retarded for thinking that when I turn something off, it's not gonna work. See, if I turn off my AC at home, I don't expect it to cool my house, now do I? So when I turn off Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, I sure as shit would be expecting it to not be fucking communicating. But I guess I'm a stupid ass boomer thinking that things work like they should. That off turns things off. Anyway, let's continue on. And again, this is more of a suggestion for companies to violate. That's why I actually recommend turning all of these off, because regardless what the hell they do, at least when they get sued, there's more people that try to turn this off, and therefore the punishment or the monetary punishment that usually they get could be higher. It's probably never going to surpass the actual revenue, which is a bit of a fuck up if you ask me, because if I can make revenue from something that I'm being punished for doing, then is it really a punishment? It's more of an investment. So I believe what we should be doing with these stupid little shits that basically violate these laws is to check out the revenue that they made from this, take it all, and then give them a punishment on top of that. That's how we're supposed to be doing this. Anyway, moving on, we have the worst one. So send user and diagnostic data. Now this is just kind of whatever burger. I'm going to explain why you should turn that crap off. But first, help improve your Android device experience by automatically sending diagnostic device and app usage data to Google. Now, do you think, A, that Google will improve your device experience by, and here's the A part, implementing new features to such a device that is running Android? B, by gathering your personal information and selling it? Or C, by trying to find more creative ways to screw you over so you are forced to view more ads that are more targeted towards you? If you answered that B and C are the correct answers, then you would be probably goddamn right. Because I have a way to disprove that this is absolute load of horseshit. What they're trying to sell this as, which is an improvement to your experience. Now, experience in Google's terms is what shows you ads better. So let's start with that. It's not what you would think as experiences, which is just the usability of a device, how nice and feature-rich it is. Google looks at feature-rich as if it shows you more ads, then that's better. If it gains more data from you that we can sell, that's even better. So this is an absolute piece of shit that you should be turning off. And if you believe that this is otherwise, I have a little bit of a thought experiment for you. So Android is an open source project. At least the original thing is. So if Google wants to gather your data, which they do on an open source project like this one that would be using the Android, right? They still get this piece of shit. So do you think that they take that data that you would be sharing with them to improve it by, adding features to it, or by removing them? Because in recent timing, they've only been removing things like, for instance, dialer from it, or messages, because why would they need to maintain that shit in an open source project? We're just going to leave that to companies that want to use it. And we're just going to not only not maintain it, we're going to remove it. So yeah, that's what your data gives you. A reduction in features for the open source project. Alternatively, even to kind of argue against this even further, Google, obviously, Google is the one that has the Android open source project, as it's theirs, has their own phones, Pixel phones, right? So do you think that they gathered this data right here? They implemented features to Pixels, that those same features are available here? Because I can sure as shit tell you that they're not. There is a lot of features that Pixels have that no other device have because they've been taking your data to improve only their own devices. They don't give a shit about this specific Android device. No. They only care about the other one, the one that you're not using. But your data benefits those devices too, though. Just not in a way that benefits you. And the data that they're going to be getting, they're going to be selling it, and they're going to also create ad profiles for you so you have better targeted advertisements. Anyway, last thing, we have install updates and apps, and this one is just the most egregious one, as it's basically just straight up blackmail that starts by continuing. Can I finish up the setup without continuing in this case? And it's the most annoying one and the one that just gets my panties twisted in a bunch, just because it's straight up bullshit what this is. It tries to, use soft languages to try to mitigate what it's actually referring to, but what it's referring you to here is the ability to change how you can use your device at any point throughout time. I want you to think about this. You might be, happy, willy-nilly using your device, and one day you're going to pick it up, and you know what? You can't use it anymore because Google decided so. Now, this is a very drastic kind of case, but it's not one that is, not one that we haven't seen, because literally Amazon, though it's not running Android, I don't want to point out, but it does the same bullshit. Amazon decided that you no longer can use your Kindle ebook reader just because it's too old. I don't give a shit that it still works. It's too old, and you no longer can upload books to it. You can't buy books. You can't upload books. You can keep the ones that are already on there, but any new ones, no. You need to buy a new ebook reader. This one, it basically became a paperweight. And let me just read this. So by continuing, you agree that this device may automatically download and install updates and apps from Google. Now, that's not the only place that it's going to do it, but we also seen a couple examples of this happening with smart devices. So Samsung's smart fridges that cost like $3,000. Yeah, they had a nice display used for, displaying your family cutesy pictures, grocery lists, and so on. And Samsung looked at it and like, wait. We have Wi-Fi connectivity. We have a display. Untapped market for advertisements. It's kind of funny how everything is advertisements or subscriptions. So yeah, too freaking bad. You bought this fridge maybe 2-3 years ago. Now you get ads on it too, and you can't really do anything about it. That's fantastic. So that's one. Sony, for instance, with their Sony Xperia phones, was doing the same crap with their phone. Purpose was to allow you to connect that phone through a cable to an alpha camera, which is also Sony camera, and use that phone as an external display for that camera. It was literally the reason why you would overpay for that hunk of junk of a device. Well, Sony decided to reward their user base that bought this expensive device, that paid extra specifically for that expensive device to use this feature. They decided to reward them by making up a bullshit excuse that not enough people are using this. So we're now introducing a subscription. So the reward for being a customer that you bought this device specifically for is that now you're getting fucked in the ass, and you have to pay a subscription, even though 2 years ago when you were buying this phone, there was not even a talk about something like that. But the moment you found out about it, it was already too late. So you couldn't stop it from ever happening. So obviously, this is basically what this is referring to in soft language, because it's talking about updates and apps. Literally anything installed is an update. So, great. Anyway, it's not like we can really do much about it unless you have the OT update services visible in background processes that you can view through like some applications. If you can just get rid of this shit. If you can't, well, welcome to the club, I guess. And there we go. There's our device set up. So, with that being said, shown, explained, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.